If y'all want to trick your dash out to make it a custom dash, you don't have to buy a Dakota Dash to a certain extent. You know, I can help you with this process here, have something that's really nice in the end, and a lot of custom features on it that a Dakota Dash is not going to have. Start out with, my speedometer went out, and I checked the cable, I unscrewed it from under the dash, I looked at it, it was spinning just fine going down the road. I got on the other end and hooked it up to the left the other end hooked up to the speedometer disc, the cluster, whatever you want to call this, the gears. And my old one is broke, so I took the one out of here, the one out of there. I found this in the mud hole in the back. The mechanical part of it still works, but anyway, I've been working on my dash for like a couple of years in the making, and but here it goes. You start by taking out, my blinkers didn't work, my gas gauge barely worked because there was a loose connection in here somewhere, so I cleaned it up and got my gas gauge to work. None of my gauges worked before when I got my truck, so I decided to go and get the aftermarket gauges. They fit in, okay? They fit right in, but you do have to delete the bottoms. Okay? And what I had to do was you take the top panel off. I'll use this one since it's already apart, and then this, well, okay, that is the top part. Okay, so check it out. You take the top part out, and then this pops out. All right, on my dash, I had to take all these out. You got to be very careful when you're cutting this plastic. This is made of plastic, it's not metal. So I put tape wherever I was going to make a cut at. I put duct tape and taped it, so that way and you got to use a fine tooth blade, so that way when you get in here and cut it, or you can use a grinder or something that ain't gonna cause a lot of stress on your plastic. If you use a hardcore coarse blade that's made for wood, that's not going to work, because it's going to crack it all to hell. So I made a cut here, and 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 then I stuck this is the dash that goes in my truck. I made my cuts, and I got my gauges in, except for that one. That one's my thermostat, and I'm working on my truck, and you have to run your thermostat, your mechanical thermostat, through here first before you can put it in your dash. Otherwise, you're going to get it all in there and realize that that's the only one that you can't disconnect, because there's not a fitting on here like these. There's fittings or plugs. You got to be sure and use your temperature gauge. If it's a mechanical temperature gauge, you need to put it in here first, run your wire through. I had to put it back on the truck because I had to move it, so I got it tucked under the hood. But anyway, I bought me a Sun Pro. I believe it's a Sun Pro. No, it ain't. I need to clean it up. It's filthy. It's an Equus. Okay. I did not have to cut none of my dash. I didn't have to cut none of this part. I don't want to, well, I guess I could pull it out. But as you can see, it fits right in there. I got to re-glue it. You gotta cut the glass. That's that thing with the glass again. You gotta cut your glass or your plastic part, okay? Bear with me here. So, I wanted something that looked like a Dakota Dash. So I went and bought these little LED lights. And I ran it. Let's do this. I pulled this piece out. Your lights are designed, because all these little holes right here, your lights are designed, those bulbs, not LED lights, but the bulbs. You might be able to find replacement bulbs that go in there to LED. I don't know. I'm smart enough to figure out that I can engineer something on my own and come up with a lot better results than using those old these. They get loose, they get corroded, they go out, then you got to take the dash all the way out to just replace one light bulb. So I'm doing upgrades. So anyway, you got to cut this part out for your tack. And as well, you got to cut a place right here out. Or let me see. Yeah, you see that? You got to cut that knockout out. See the difference? You got to cut this out. And I just put black tape over my old turn signals, and I'll explain why later. Anyway, you got to cut that out, and then on your final cap, I don't know where it is. Oh yeah, your final plate, which is, where's mine at? Dadgummit. I'm sitting here getting lost in my own world, and the parts are all right here. Where did it go? Let me cut the camera back on in a minute. Okay, sorry about that. You also got to cut a tiny bit on this plate that covers as well. I didn't want to cut this stuff right here. I mean, I deleted it on my gauges. You know, my those kind of gauges, the round little small gauges. I deleted that, and so I went ahead and trimmed it straight across here and trimmed it out of here and make sure nothing's grounding out. Looks like I'm gonna have to put some more glue on that so it don't ground out on me. But mainly all my dummy lights and everything are unhooked, man. I wanted a different dash altogether, you know. There might be a lot of people that disagree with me on this one. Like, it's a lot of work and it could cause you a lot of problems, but you know, if you do it right and make sure all your fittings and everything are connected properly, and you use you know, solder to solder these. I'll show you in a minute what I'm going to do with that. But anyway, once you get your tack in, you can come in here. You know, I only have one hand. Hang on. Okay. If you notice, I got the LED lights all tacked up around the edge right here. And there's barely enough room to squeeze this little baby back in there. It's your cover. It holds the glass in. Okay? And it's a tight fit. You got to work it in there. But it does go down in there and it does fit. Make sure you're not pinching none of your wires when you put this back down in there. That is ground. So you don't want to nick your wires. You want to run them completely safe, you know. Don't put them in a bind. Do not put your LED lights in a bind. I did put my LED lights one time. You see the glue up here? I put my LED lights and I glued them into here. But what caused that to happen was it made it so bright that the whole cab was lit up because of my dash lights. I mean, somebody said, that's an awesome deal, man, but your lights are just so bright, it's like, it's crazy bright. I mean, you couldn't even see the road because they were shining right in your face. So, I stuck it underneath here, under here. I thought about trying to put some mirror tint on here to where when it's not lit up, I haven't. I'm not going to try that right now. I just in the future I might try it, but put some window tint to where it just looks like solid glass dash, you know, like mirror. And then when you turn it on, it'll. I don't know about that yet, so don't go doing that yet because I haven't tried that. But this tack definitely does fit in here perfect. All the gauges fit in there. All your aftermarket gauges fit in there perfect. Let me cut the camera back off when I get all these wires, because like I said, you got to be very careful you don't leave none of your wires pinched. Okay, I got them all tucked in right now. I might shorten or extend these wires out. I don't know how quite I'm going to secure them here, but I am going to secure all my wires so there ain't no loose wires and causing a bunch of problems in that area. I got a hot glue gun. I don't know how I'm going to secure these wires, but I might just secure them outside the box. But look, these LED lights are kind right here. IFN Innovation Flex Strip Lights. Okay, these are hardwire, or you can take and plug them into you can buy an extra box that dims them and lights them and change colors and all this and that and the other. You know, they get real fancy with it. I didn't want to go through all that. I don't need a remote to turn my dash lights up and down unless they're too bright. I might have to go ahead and resort to buying that just to dim the lights or to change the colors or whatever. But I'm looking for a quick fix. These lights cost me like 30 bucks for 2 strips. And the reason why I got 2 strips is because I got something neat for you. This is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. Okay, but that wasn't enough for me. I wanted something extra fancy. My blinker lights, those ones that come factory in there, they kept burning the bulb out. I was just having a lot of problems with it. So, you know, I come up with an idea. And if you're not too savvy on wiring, this is completely easy. You can figure it out for yourself. But if you get lost, because the way I teach is like bouncing around like crazy, I'll show you a little trick. You can let somebody that knows about hooking up relays and show them this video, and they'll be able to do it for you. But on my plug harness, I got it taped off because I don't want to shorten out on anything. I found the left blinker and the right blinker, and I hooked them up to relays. Okay, now on these relays, it shows you the wiring diagram here, and if you look real close, you can see if you buy a set of these relays, they're at the parts store. Okay, you got your 2 contact points. That's going to be 85 and 86. Okay, 85 you want to hook, you know, to your positive source, which is your blinker light. Okay, so when your blinker light is not working, I want each of those lights on each side of my panel to come on and off, you know, with the blink. I want those big. I'll get to that later. But anyway, you have a terminal on these that are normally closed. Okay? I wish I could be thorough about this, but I lose a lot of people on it when I go to wiring stuff. They say that I totally lose them on it. But if you go to somebody, I'll say it with the words, and then instead of showing you, you can have somebody help you out. But on one of these terminals, it's going to be 87A is normally closed. That's going to be your LED light that I just hooked in there. Okay, and you want to make sure that when it's normally closed, you're going to hook 30 and 87A up. All you're going to do is break the circuit on that LED light system over there. You're going to be breaking the circuit. So what's going to happen is when I turn my dash lights on, my LED lights are going to come on. And then when I turn my blinker on, it's going to signal from the blinker wires that connect into your dash. You're going to wire them into this relay. You're going to be able to wire this relay where it's normally on. Normally on. Okay? So when you're not using your blinkers, these lights are going to stay normally on, like they're supposed to. Your dash lights are going to stay normally on. But when I energize the circuit for to go left or right blinker, because I got my wires, I chase down my wires. It looks like one of them's a blue wire and one of them's a light blue wire. And that's left and right blinker on your console cluster. And what it does is it breaks the circuit like this. It's gonna discontinue the circuit. Okay? That's all a switch is. That's all a relay does. It either makes a circuit or breaks a circuit. Well, I'm wiring this relay up, two of them, one for each side. So when my dash lights are on like so, they're going to stay on when I pull my parking lights on or my headlights on. Those will stay on just like that. But because I hooked those relays in there, one side is going to blink instead of this little bitty LED, instead of this little bitty hole right here that was made for your original blinkers. I'm not letting these little arrows come on. The whole cluster on this one side is going to blink. It's going to blink like this. That's what it's going to do. And then the other, you hook to the left blinker, and then that one's going to do it over there. But you got to have two relays when you do this. And I think this dash is going to look totally cool when I get it together, and I'm going to tag it onto this end of this video when I get everything hooked up and ready. But the only other thing that I have is these, you can barely see them during the day. This needle, for some reason, or during the day you can see it, but for some reason at night, the light they stick in these things they're a pain in the butt. I don't think it's, I can't see my tack. Can see it during the day, but not at night. And that's going to be a white light. When you buy these extra dash things, they let you choose colors. Like they'll give you a red one or a green one to cover your bulbs, to make your different colors on your smaller gauges. This one, it doesn't give you an option to change the color. It doesn't give you an option to change the bulb or anything. Once it's toast, it's toast. But I'm thinking about maybe seeing if I can sneak me an LED strip down in here. I don't think it's going to work though, because this is the back side of the panel. I tried to take it apart and it won't come apart. It's glued together, and I don't want to destroy this and not be able to get it go back together. So that's the only thing that I don't like about using this tack, is I can't change the colors and the lights. But other than that, I had no hard time making any of this work. It all works. It all functions correctly. And I just love the way that looks like a Dakota Dash. It's going to be so awesome, man. I can't wait. That's going to look really, it looks really nice. See, you can kind of see the little dots. Anyway, I'm going to get off here. Well, I guess here's the end of the video. I had to wait for it to get dark. I love this dash, and it doesn't blind me like the other one. Camera might show it kind of bright, but before, and I hadn't hooked up my lower dash, my little gauges either. That's as far as I could go today, man. I mean, I was really pushing myself to get it this far, and I don't like that, but you can't win them all. Maybe it's important to watch your RPMs. That's what it is. You're supposed to watch your. You see what I'm saying about that needle? You can't hardly even see the needle. In fact, you can't even see the needle hardly. Not on this camera, I can see it, but the camera don't show it. Anyway, you can take, I know this video is not step by step, you know, because I get lost with my own wires when I'm wiring something. I don't lose them. I just always double check myself and triple check myself and quadruple check myself. And anyway, if the best way I can explain for y'all to understand what a relay does, it's basically just a magnetic coil, as I've said in my past on these videos. It's a magnetic coil that, just picture a light switch in your house, and the magnetic coil makes the light switch go up and down. That's all it does, is create a circuit. It either makes a circuit or breaks a circuit. So it takes positive and negative to activate the electromagnetic coil inside of a relay. And then you got a contact point. You know what I'm saying? The switch part itself. You're just making and breaking a circuit. And that's all I did, was break the circuit with the flasher on my turn signal side. That way I could have, I tricked it, I hacked it, you know. Instead of doing all that fancy computer stuff, I created the dash I wanted. I really wanted that, and I think I made it look awesome. But anyway, I'll catch y'all later, and if you truly do want to know how, just leave me a comment on this video, and I'll try to get on the phone with you and walk you through it. If anybody ever want to try to tag this video on this one, because obviously I do know what I'm doing on this one, you know. I'm thinking about just getting rid of running new wires for my everything else has been deleted but the gas tank. The speedometer is mechanical. The only thing left on there is the gas tank. I'm thinking about running me just new wires and deleting all of that paper thin green wire stuff that's there, the old school stuff, and just running, you know, hard wire. I think it would be easier on me. Anyway, been trying to buy that part. Catch y'all later. Till next time, Limster out.